Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel today. So this is Amen Clothing YouTube channel where we teach you how to use pattern drafting to create unlimited design. So this is a simple gown with an exaggerated puff sleeve and a princess seam or power bodies, okay? So if that's what you want to learn how to make, then keep watching this video to the very end. Do not forget to subscribe. Leave a comment in the comment section, okay? Let's head straight to the pattern drafting part of this tutorial. So first you'll be needing your basic bodies with your basic darts, your side bust darts and your waist dart, of course. So I haven't done that now. The next thing we are going to do is that I'm going to reduce my neckline because it's still in the basic. So I'm going to reduce it so I can kind of have my desired neckline. I don't want it to be a turtleneck or a shirt. So I'm going to be reducing my neckline. At the shoulder, I went in by 1 inch, and on the depth, I came down by ½ an inch. So I'm going to be connecting both of them like so. So having done that, I'll go ahead to use my scissors and cut it out. And of course, this is the neckline. This is the neckline we are going to be using for this tutorial. So the next thing we are going to do now is to determine the point where our armhole princess seam is going to be starting from. And of course, this is what I'm doing now for my armhole princess seam. It's going to be starting from here. So I'm going ahead to connect it to this point like so. And after that, I'll use my marker to trace it out so you guys can see it clearly. And then I'll go ahead to create my armhole princess seam proper. If you've been following my channel, you should get used to learning how to create princess seams. Okay, you should by now get used to the whole process of creating armhole princess seam, shoulder princess seam. You should get used to it by now. So here I'm trying to mark out my bust apart measurement so it's visible because I'm going to be contouring my under bust. So from my bust apart measurement, I marked 1 inch on both sides. This is so I can contour my under bust to give it that feminine look at the under bust. I'll go ahead to use my ruler to connect this point to the bust point line like so, and to the waist line dart like so. And after doing this, I'll go ahead to use my marker to make sure it is visible. So the next thing now is to cut open my side bust dart so I can close it and open that dart at this very line I marked at my armhole. So I'll go ahead to cut open this line now. We are cutting very close to the tip of that bust point line. Then you go ahead to close the dart and open it up here so you can create your armhole princess seam. So now I'm using my scissors to eliminate the darts that we will not be needing. So I'm kind of smoothing this part out because we do not want any pointed curved edge at that bust line. We want it to come out very smooth and natural. So I smoothened every pointy edge out, and I'm going to be using my scissors to just kind of take it out. So these are the pieces for the front. Then we'll head straight to the back. While I was drafting the basic back, I did not impute my shoulder dart line. I did not impute my dart for the shoulder. So this is what I'm going to do now. Because I did not impute that dart for the shoulder, which I was supposed to impute while drafting the back half scale block, I'm going to be doing that now. So what I'm going to do is to indicate the center of my shoulder slope line. And so when I do that now, I'll go ahead and mark it out. The center of my shoulder slope line, I'll go ahead and mark it out. So I'll use my ruler to connect it to the bust point line like so. So having done this, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be marking half an inch on both sides, which is actual intake of my dart, 1 inch. So I'm marking half an inch on both sides. And the length of this dart is 3 inches. So I'll be connecting the half inch to the 3 inch mark like so. This very 1 inch now, I'm going to replace it, okay? Like I said, I did not include this while drafting this pattern initially. So in order not to let the shoulder slope or the shoulder line of the back to reduce by 1 inch, I'll go ahead to impute back or add back that 1 inch at this very point now. So when we are joining our front to the back, the shoulder lines are the same. I hope that makes sense. So now I added a fresh pattern paper like so. And the next thing I'm going to do is you want to check how much that intake and you impute it here. Okay, here is 1 inch. I marked 1 inch and I'm extending my shoulder line to that 1 inch. Of course, I'm going to be checking the dart leg and I'm also going to be marking it down from that 1 inch, 3 inches. So I'll use my ruler to connect from that very extended 1 inch line and I'll join it to the 3 inch line, thereby creating my new armhole and shoulder for the back. So this is what it's going to look like. Now we'll go ahead to create our back armhole princess seam. Same thing we did to the front. I'm going to be using my tape to determine where the armhole princess seam for the back will start. So I've marked here. It's optional, you can start from wherever you want. And then I'm going ahead to connect that point to this very point at the back, to the bust point at the back. So you want to watch carefully. I'll go ahead now to open that dart up. And of course, extend my cut all the way to the bust point of the back. Then I'll cut open this line for the armhole princess seam. So I'll close the dart now. Go ahead and close the dart so we can open it at this very part. So this is what it looks like, okay? Of course, I'll go ahead to cut out the dart, which we do not need. So same thing, I'm also going to be smoothing out that part so it's not pointy, okay? Now these are the two pieces for the back. And of course, these are the two pieces for the front. Remember, we are going to be cutting the center front unfold and two pieces for the rest of the front and the back half scale. Now moving over to the skirt, if you notice, you will find out that this very so for the skirt, I do not want the hemline to be so tight on me. Like, I don't want it to be pencil. I want to be able to move about freely, as you can see me doing here in the video. I want to be able to move about freely. Okay, so to achieve this now, what I'm going to do is that I extended this bust apart measurement all the way to the hemline. So now I'll be transferring a little bit of the dart to the hemline. I'll transfer a little bit of the dart to the hemline. I'm not going to be sewing up the whole of the dart. I'll transfer a little of the dart to the hemline to give me that ease at the hemline, okay? So you see what I mean now. Just watch carefully. You will see what I'm trying to explain. So I'm going to get a fresh pattern paper and I'll hold it down, making sure that my center front is straight. I'm going to be concentrating on the center front, making sure that my center front is straight. So I'll hold it down. Now I'm going to determine, after holding it down, I'll determine how much wideness I want at the hemline. How much wideness I want at the hemline. I'll go ahead to determine it also. So here I used 1.5. You can, but the maximum you can use is 2 inches, so it doesn't look like an A-line cut. I used 1.5. So now I'm going to be bringing the remaining part of my skirt pattern like so to that 1.5 mark, thereby creating that very ease I want at my hemline. So as you can see, we still have some part of the dart that we are going to be sewing, but it's no longer 1 inch. I had to transfer some of the darts to the hemline so I can create an ease for my hemline. So same thing we did to this front skirt block is what we're going to do to the back. Okay, the same method we use, the same technique we used for the front is what we are going to be using for the back. Now we'll head straight to the sleeve pattern. Okay, for the sleeve, this is my basic sleeve, and to get that very particular, that puff area part of it, I'm going to be tracing out the actual part that I want the puffs to start, somewhere around the armhole of the sleeve. Firstly, I checked from the middle part of my sleeve how much length I want that puff sleeve to be. So I'm marking out the way from here now to this point. And I'll go ahead to trace the whole of this out on a fresh pattern paper. So having traced it out, I went ahead to slash and spread that traced part. And after slashing and spreading the traced part, I went ahead to mark 3 inches from the center sleeve upwards. So you're going to have that high part of the puff sleeve. The puff sleeve is not going to rest on your shoulder, it's going to be kind of high. Okay. And for more fullness, like my own puff sleeve, I found out it wasn't all that full. If you want your puff sleeve to be very full, you also have to slash and spread this very yellow paper. You also have to slash and spread this very yellow. By the time you're done with this, you also slash and spread the very yellow pattern. That's the paper, the yellow paper, so you can get more fullness. So initially I was marking the point where I should fold or pleat or gather, but I found out that the sleeve is going to be a guide for that. Okay, the basic sleeve is going to be a guide for that, so there's no need making all those marks to know where you're gathering and where you're not gathering. The sleeve is going to be a guide for that. Okay. So I'll go ahead to cut this up now, which is going to be our exaggerated sleeve. Like I said, if you want more fullness, you go ahead to slash and spread. After cutting it out, you still slash and spread this very pattern if you have enough fabric, because it will actually consume a whole lot of fabric. So I repeat again, if you want more fullness, still slash and spread this very pattern. So now when we are gathering, we have to just gather into this very sleeve like so. Now heading over to the sewing part of it, I'm going ahead now to cut out my fabric using my pattern paper that we already drafted. And I'm marking every necessary notch, the bust point, the underbust, the waistline. I'm marking everything necessary so that I do not miss whatever when I'm sewing. Also, I'm marking the other part of it. You want to mark your notches so your sewing aligns. All the pieces, they align together. Okay. So this is my front piece, like so. I only ironed a very light interface. That was just what I used. I didn't use any breast cup, I didn't use any wadding. I only used a very light interface. And that was just all that I used. Like you're seeing my notches, when I'm sewing, I'll make sure they align. So I'm done sewing for the front, and as you can see, the beautiful outcome of the princess seam with just the light paper stay. I didn't use any wadding, I didn't use any breast pad, with just the light paper stitch. So once you cut it very well, it's going to come out nice and neat. So I haven't done this now. These are my pieces, the front skirt, the back. So we'll go ahead to join all these pieces together, okay? And also the sleeve, including that very exaggerated part of the sleeve. We'll join them together and that is it.